ask within the context of a concern that consumers will have about being charged higher bills to facilitate the repayment of this loan. So that's my first question.
Well, remember the terms of the loan to JPS is 5 years at 5.5%.
Can you indicate which government agency is the official agency providing the loan?
Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
Or the ministry directly? Okay. There was, related to JPS, there was a allocation or a figure of 450 million US, not in the supplementary, but part of the overall loan package that the international financial institutions were providing as part of the $6.7 billion. Could you provide some clarity as to what that 450 million US allocated or earmarked for JPS would be used for?
So member, the Ministry of Energy could give you further details, but in essence, this facility would be available to JPS, as they had indicated that there was a need for additional funding, where we would like for the 150 million that was allocated to them as a loan, for that to come back to us out of this facility. But all of that is left to be worked out.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, we have provided an upfront loan of 150. The international financial institutions have made a provision of 450 million, which JPS can draw down on and use that to repay the government the 150. Is that correct?
Just so you're aware, member, it's not something that is in place yet, but contemplated.
No, I know. That's why I say earmarked and not definitive. But it's important to understand what it is earmarked for and what is the thinking, because obviously there have been discussions between the government of Jamaica and the IFIs around this facility.
Hold on. I wonder if I hear this conversation here. I'm going to pull it back, because Julian is asking Auntie Faval about a statement that she made in the parliament. And we have to play about the statement, I want to listen this, because this is a key moment where a lot of people miss. Yeah? This is a key moment.
Forward, the report from the Independent Fiscal Commission should be tabled at the same time that the supplementary is tabled.
So we're just taking it back, yeah?
Today, and I see it as one of the tabled documents, but it's important for our own analysis of the supplementary. And I know it's not required by law for you to do so, but for good governance and transparency, that we have it at the same time as the supplementary.
I want you all to listen to the line of questioning that Julian Robinson put to Faval Williams, and the response of Faval Williams to a statement that she had made in the parliament. My apologies. Me do something wrong right here, sir.
I know, no. So I see it as a table document today, but I'm just saying going forward, when it is sent to you by law, and I'm just asking if we are, for future reference, when you table the supplementary, that you table it at the same time. So we have the benefit of it prior to it being tabled now. In terms of the substantive question, first one relates to JPS. I have seen in the media where you have finalized the terms of the loan to the JPS. Could you indicate what those terms are in terms of the tenor of the loan and the interest rate. And I asked within the context of a concern that consumers will have about being charged higher bills to facilitate the repayment of this loan. So that's my first question.
Well, remember the terms of the loan to JPS is 5 years at 5.5%.
Can you indicate which government agency is the official agency providing the loan?
Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
Or the ministry directly? Okay. There was, related to JPS, there was a allocation or a figure of 450 million US, not in the supplementary, but part of the overall loan package that the international financial institutions were providing as part of the $6.7 billion. Could you provide some clarity as to what that 450 million US allocated or earmarked for JPS would be used for?
So remember, the Ministry of Energy could give you further details, but in essence, this facility would be available to JPS, as they had indicated that there was a need for additional funding, where we would like for the 150 million that was allocated to them as a loan, for that to come back to us out of this facility. But all of that is left to be worked out.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, we have provided an upfront loan of 150. The international financial institutions have made a provision of 450 million, which JPS can draw down on and use that to repay the government the 150. Is that correct?
Just so you're aware, member, it's not something that is in place yet, but contemplated.
No, I know. That's why I say earmarked and not definitive. But it's important to understand what it is earmarked for and what is the thinking, because obviously there would have been discussions between the government of Jamaica and the IFIs around this facility. And since the figure is there, we just want clarity on it.
Very, very preliminary discussions, member.
Very preliminary. So when will you be in a position, I had asked you at the last sitting, to provide greater detail in terms of the 6.7 billion. We know 2.4 is private sector mobilization funding, but the direct government of Jamaica borrowing, when will you be able to tell us specifics on that in terms of the amounts from institutions, interest rates, length of period to pay, whether there's moratoria, etc.? When can you provide that to the House?
So remember, the announcement was made last week, and as you can imagine, with these kinds of facilities, there are many conversations, many rounds of meetings to happen. We are in the early days following this announcement.
So, we are listening to Auntie Fieval.
So please allow us some time. Obviously, government has to look at its priority projects. It has to look at the timing of those projects. There is quite a bit to be worked out, member, which would not be possible to bring to the House in a week.
Okay, I understand that, but would you be in a position to say when? And I asked that within the context, you have made projections around our debt to GDP ratio, moving up to 68% and moving higher. I assume those projections would account for what you anticipate that you intend to borrow to deal with the gaps that arise from the fall off in economic income activity and taxable income.
All right. The 68% debt to GDP that you referenced, remember, is what we're projecting by the end of this fiscal year, which will be in another 3 months. And all if not most of that is primarily due to the decline in the GDP. As we look out in the medium term, that's where you would see reflected any drawdowns on these facilities that have been announced.
So no new borrowing for this fiscal year up to March 2026.
So in this fiscal year, remember, there is a little bit of borrowing, but not enough to move the needle significantly.
All right, since you have not finalized the arrangements, is there a contemplation to negotiate within these facilities? There is a specific climate provision, and I think Barbados has piloted that, where in the event of a natural disaster, that there is a way.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show for yet another Monday. We started the week yesterday morning, Sunday morning. Now we are here on a Monday evening. We are going to be here tomorrow evening and Wednesday evening. Yes. Giving you the most fearless analysis of Jamaica's politics, governance, government, economy, sports, and at the same time highlighting the most beautiful parish in Jamaica, the parish of Portland. We are welcoming the world to Portland. Come to Port Antonio. We have a few little problems that we had before Melissa. Nothing that Melissa caused that you can't come. So come enjoy rafting on the Rio Grande. Come enjoy the Blue Lagoon. Come enjoy Boston Beach, Winifred Beach, Frenchman's Cove. Come enjoy jerk pork at Boston. Come enjoy Reach Falls. Yeah, man, come to Portland. We are open for business. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. Well, as we say, fearless, the truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And if we make a mistake, we'll be the first to admit to our mistake. And if we need to apologize, we will apologize, because our intention is not to mislead anybody, but just to speak the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Put it on the table. So, let's go to the breaking news. Let's go to some breaking news. Because on a year we're asking about JPS and Wolipa. JPS in the argument. Listen to this, my people. Breaking news from RGR News Center.
The Caribbean.
JPS announces a 7% rate hike tied to November consumption. Slow but steady progress. JPS says all parishes now have customers restored in some sections. 3 members of St. James robbery syndicate fatally shot during a reported confrontation with police. Trinidad and Tobago to allow U.S. military access to airports in coming weeks amid U.S.-Venezuela tension. In business news, R.A. Williams slips into loss as rising costs weigh on half-year results.
The Caribbean.
JPS announces a 7% rate hike tied to November consumption.
7% more on your light bill, For November, you hear that? Look up this. 7% on your light bill. 7% on our light bill for November. So those of us who got back light early, well, 2 weeks is considered early. There's still people who have no light yet. So we will be paying the November bill 7% higher. Tala! That's why you hear, no, it's still no better. When these questions are being asked, we need to get the understanding. You hear the Minister of Energy said they're lending the money at 5% because if them go any higher, it will pass on to us. 5% was a lot. We are going to pay that through our teeth. And whether JPS get it from the multilaterals or the government, we, the consumers, we have to pay back that loan. This evening, we intend to talk to new member of parliament. Man, we are asked the question them on a trend. Member of Parliament for Central St. Mary. Chairman for Region 2. Omar Noel is going to be my guest at about 5:30. He's up on the road, so we're going to bring him in via phone. Go and talk to him. The man will dash with favor like a whole rag. Thank you, Minister. Favor will say, excuse me, what? Hello? And start chat one bag of crap. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We're going to talk to him this evening. Tomorrow evening, we're looking forward to having a conversation with Nikisha Burchell, one of the hardest hit areas by Hurricane Melissa. So, remember, share up the channel, like up the video. Sometimes we have whole heap of people on it and we have a little bit of like. Engage with the video, man. You like the content, like up the video. Share it with your people. Let them know that there is a program on YouTube hosted by Colin Bell, who is no vlogger nor blogger. I'm a broadcaster. Some people call it a broadcast journalist. I think journalists do a little more work than we as broadcasters, host of talk show. But we are credible, truthful, accuracy. We are rational people. The team over here, we are critical thinkers. That's what a lot of people lack. And of course, knowledge and understanding, wisdom is what we pray for. Grant us vision, lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father. Grant us true wisdom from above. Then justice and truth be ours forever. In this Jamaica land we love. Good morning, good evening.
Hello, Colin?
Yes, nephew.
I was disappointed in you yesterday. As you know, I don't miss your program. I just can't wait for it to start at 5 o'clock in the week.
Okay, what did I do to disappoint you yesterday?
Yesterday, I hear a lady were telling you that she get an increase on her retroactive come up to 1.3 million.
And she going to end up with 200,000. Yeah, me hear it.
That is not true.
Me no understand it neither, nephew. Me now tell you me understand it.
True. As a farm, before I retire, I was a union delegate. And I understand retroactive. When negotiation is taking place, And if it take a year or 2 months to complete,
Yeah.
when it do complete and the increase, let's for instance, Colin, that you were getting $20,000 per month. And the increase would have moved you from $20,000 per month to say $35,000 per month. So it will be retroactive for the past 1 year and so, which will be $15,000 more per month come up. So if you do the total, and that $15,000 per month to over a year come up to, let me say, $400,000. Based on the tax, Colin, if you were paying, let me say, 15% tax, 15% tax would have come out of that 400,000, and then they would have paid.
Nevio, you don't know you don't know all our circumstances still, you know.
Colin,
So,
listen to me.
Hold on.
Listen to
Hold on,
listen to me.
Nevio, hear me I said to you. You see the fact that we don't know all our circumstances and all our deductions. Hold on for me, Nevio. Don't move. Hello, good evening. Hold the line. Hold the line. We're coming back to you.
Yes, listen to me, Colin. Then after you take out the tax, there's a percentage come out for your NIS. There's a percentage come out for your education tax. There's a percentage come out for your housing trust.
Nevio, hold on.
Colin,
Nevio, hold on a little bit. We know all of that.
Well,
But hold on a little. But there are times when people's circumstances are different. You see somebody tell you the end result, but them not give you all of the integral detail. You don't know if she was overpaid one time and the government decided to take back all of their money one time. You don't know that.
All right, make I work with you. If she were overpaid, meaning she would have collected money in which she never entitled to, and they deduct it back, then you can't cut
No,
the
but
system,
Nevio, but that's why I tell you, say, we don't know the whole circumstances, so we can't really debate that accurately. The lady say what she, the lady say what she said, I will leave it at that because we don't know the details of it. So move on to something else.
But you put it across like it was the wickedness of the government system which caused that, and then your chat room also commented to give the impression that is the wickedness of the government, which is not true, Colin.
Nevio, hold on. What the scenario I posed a while ago, you know, no must right either. Me just draw one scenario and I said to you, say, people not tell you all the circumstances surround why your retroactive was 1.3 million and you only get that amount. Them not tell you all the circumstances. Move on to something else.
The point is, she put it across the program like it's the wickedness of the government.
Okay.
And I'm here to say that is not so, Colin.
All right.
And it needs to be corrected. Thank you, sir.
Me can't correct it because I don't know the detail. All right. Have a good one. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. Missed that caller. 876-804-7072. That's the number to call. At 5:30, we're going to bring on Sir Omar Noel. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Colin.
Yes, good afternoon.
Let me clear up some ambiguities that nephew feel like there is.
Go ahead.
The retroactive payment was not salaried retroactive payments. It was not a part of my salary per se. So there's no deduction to come from it. My money was from added hours back payment. So there wasn't any deduction to come from it. This was just a flat figure
so how
based
the government,
on added hours that worked.
But how the government take $1 million and you only get...
It was taxed. They just taxed it based on whatever taxation that was happening.
What
so it was
kind of
just
tax?
taxed right across the board. I don't know, income tax. I think it was income tax took it out.
But
there was no deduction.
No, but that is about 80% of the money gone in a tax, you know.
That's what I'm saying. This when I look at it, right, the higher your rank or the longer your service, the less you get. Because I know district constable, I was a police officer. I know district constable that got more than me, that got more than I did.
No, I
So
understand
it was
it.
based on your
And it
years of
sound,
service and
I
your rank.
I will agree with Neville that it sounds ridiculous.
No, as I'm saying, it wasn't a salary package. So it wasn't no wage negotiation package.
Okay.
It was a one-off payment for a back payment.
Oh, that they were giving to police
It was-
officers.
Yes. So it was a
Okay.
one-off payment. It wasn't anything to do with salary or so forth. So there wasn't any deduction to come from it. There wasn't any loan or anything to come from it. No NIS, no nothing to come from it.
Wow.
It was a one-off negotiation based on some added hours when we were doing
And you are
wage
saying,
negotiation the last time.
and you're saying the amount you were supposed to get, the amount that came is what?
Was 1.3. So when you look at the
and you
top,
only
you
get
see
200,000.
1.3. And no, I got 275 out of the 1.3.
Wow. It's so
So everything it was taxed. So it wasn't a wage negotiation package where you say, all right, then based on our back payments or overpayments or anything.
You're a high-ranking police officer?
No, I wasn't. I was a constable.
Well, I guess maybe there are other people who the same thing happened to, right? That wasn't just you alone. Then.
Of course, it wasn't just me. It was across the board.
Oh, okay.
It was across the board, so it wasn't just me. It was everybody. When you look at the taxation on the package, it's like, what was the point of giving us the city? You were going to tax the entire thing. Wow. Because it was heavily taxed. As I said, it wasn't a wage negotiation package, so there was no deduction to come from it. There was no NHP deduction, no NIS deduction, no education tax deduction, none of that. It was just an added hour package that we were negotiating, and because remember, the last negotiation package, they were saying that we need to put something in place to record the time added hours that we work, because back then we were just working over 40, 50 hours and we weren't being paid for it.
Oh, okay.
So now we have a new system in place that you have to log in and log out whenever you go to work, so that everybody can have a good filing to show how many hours they work, and you can't work about certain hours. But back then we were just working. So when they were negotiating the package for back payments on those stuff, they had to come up with some calculation, and that's how the money was, the payment came about. But then it was so heavily taxed that it didn't make a difference.
Okay.
So when Nevi's saying all of these deduction coming out and so forth, it wasn't a part of a salary package. It was just a one-off thing. Right. Because it was the only payment on it, retroactive payment for added hours.
You will admit though that it sounds exorbitant.
Of course it is. It wasn't like, because everybody was expecting something, because when we did the calculation on our own, the figure that we came up with was close to what we supposed that was at the top. But then when you look down at the bottom now, and then you realize that is what we got after tax. Then because we all did our calculation and we were expecting an amount.
Oh.
But then when you look at the bottom now, you realize that so much was taxed, 70%, 80% of it was taxed. And you're wondering why. And as I said, I know of district constable that got more than me, because when we were comparing pay, I was like, what the hell? Because at the time I had like probably 13, 14 year service. So I expected
to get
something.
A nice piece of food.
Exactly. And then nothing came.
All right, Carla. So thank you.
So I hope Nephew understand that it was not one of them things there.
So you see, Nephew, that's why I tell you, so we can't debate it, because we don't know the details of it. And here the lady come and clarify. Thank you very much for clarifying it. Thank you. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show, Daddy Marshy.
Good evening, Colin SHACKA, trumpet.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Yes. So, JPS, them they tell you already, you know. The man from JPS didn't tell you long before.
7% sound hot though.
But listen to me. It not stop at 7% because the government will get more GCT.
Tala. Oh yes. Oh yes.
More GCT.
Yes. Because the higher your bill, the higher the GCT the amount that comes out for general consumption tax.
In a church, them would have said, see you, mama, see you.
Rabatala, rab.
But it not stop there, sir. When you put 7% on electricity, who are going to observe that? Which business people are going to observe the whole of that? Because its product will have to go up.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And it end up one place in the consumer pocket.
Cost
So
of
I'm
living getting higher. More sellers than buyer.
See there?
Cost
So
of living.
I know just the 7% up there, so we have a feeling it because it's a trickle down thing. So you know, Darrell, my Minister of Energy, so I'm full of energy ever so my trace people.
Oh God. You're the man at the press briefing. Go for two our parlance them there.
Man, full of energy,
Yeah, man. They are as I said Saturday morning, the government is politicking instead of governing. It's time for governance and time to put up the politics. That's what the government is playing, politics.
Yeah, man, and the thing these people tell, and which salary is going to move to offset all of this?
Well,
the public sector worker, them already making them know that public sector worker salary have to move in line with inflation.
Oh yes.
And this is going to show inflation. Hold on, you're going to have Ralston this evening?
Yes, because you know what happened last week when Ralston told us that the central bank was going to take out 50 billion out of circulation.
Yes.
I asked him if he believed that is it for the year, because this is Christmas. And we wouldn't expect that you would be taking out money out of circulation during the Christmas season. And what we are understanding is that this week, they're coming again. So we're going to talk to Ralston in a little while after we talk to Omar Noel.
What a man great. What a man. The man know the thing, you know. And the thing about is not somebody who wise after the fact, you know.
Then no,
telling you before.
That's why I tell people, how can you not respect this man?
Exactly.
Call him what you want.
Yes.
How can you not respect the man ability to crunch the numbers and show you where the thing will go?
Because if you want to prove Ralston wrong, whatever him tell you is going to happen, all you have to do is just don't make it happen, and then you prove him wrong. But you can't. You know, I tell Ralston already, you know, and I will say it again. When Ralston did that true lick for Omar Davies, when Omar Davies do what is wrong, me did I say this rotted man is a labor right because Mutty Perkins used to, every time Mutty Perkins come on and we talk about the economy, you know, the man would say, let's get Ralston.
Then hold on. Cliff Hughes, him not used to that. Cliff Hughes regular too.
Yeah, but what you know where through Cliff Hughes, a big like Cliff Hughes in free for the labor right. But you see, after the government change and the EPAC thing, Cliff Hughes are the first one who ball out to Ralston not for the panic again.
Oh my.
Yeah, man, Cliff Hughes was the first one. Cliff Hughes are the first one ball out to it. But you realize that Cliff Hughes don't know nothing about economy, you know, so them not talk it, you know, them leave it. Them just get a little wishy-washy and chat all kind of rubbish at people. People to tell me about this. Inflation going to soar now. 7% on the one time and you start to tell me where the foolishness now.
I don't know if everybody heard it. I don't know if everybody heard it. Let me just play this piece of breaking news again, Jamaica. Breaking news.
Slow but steady progress. JPS says all parishes now have
the Caribbean.
JPS announces a 7% rate hike tied to November consumption. Slow but steady progress. JPS says all parishes now have customers restored in some sections.
That was from RGR 5 o'clock news. That's the headline. 7%.
But listen, it may strange to some people, but JPS did tell you before, because they have them plan.
Oh, yes. They told us
they,
that it was
they
coming.
told us before that it's going to happen. And now it happened. I'm not going to leave you, because I have to listen to Ralston, because he knows the thing and he will tell us.
Yeah, man. And we're going to talk to Omar Newell, the man where I dropped some of the fire question them in the parliament.
Yes. Him a one who take time and send home, hey, just before I go, me have a feeling to the government, because they want to get rid of favor, you know. And me feel that they maybe want to talk somebody.
You think they must set up favor?
Yeah?
You think they must set up anti-favor?
Yeah, so well set up. So well set up. Then well set up anti-favor, and she can't manage. And you have people who don't want favor to go, because favor can be easily manipulated. But suppose them stalk somebody. Suppose them take somebody from somewhere and stalk him.
I am saying that if they go and move favor, I'll put Matthew Samuda there. He will learn.
Best bet.
He will learn.
And I will go back to my old saying, this might irritate some people. Desmond McKenzie is not as good as Favor, but he cannot do worse than Favor.
Later, Marshy.
Good.
In our fiscal policy paper memo, we have put out some estimates of where the debt to GDP is expected to be after we hit the 68.3% this year. We are expecting recovery, as we've seen with other disasters. If you look back on Beryl last year, within 2 quarters, we were able to begin to see economic recovery. I'm not saying within 2 quarters we will see that with Melissa, but there is expectation that GDP will begin to grow again. And together with the capital spending that we need to do and the drawdowns, those have been worked into the estimates that we put out.
Can you give me that estimate, or is it available?
Right. So we have some preliminary estimates in this medium-term publication as we concretize the projects, and we know the life cycle of the projects, and we know the drawdowns. Those will be reflected in numbers in the future. But these are our preliminary estimates that we lay out in the fiscal policy paper interim report.
And at its peak, what is the debt to GDP ratio?
Hello?
Hello. Turn on your background, please.
Yes, can you?
Turn down your background.
So after the addition of the loan, we expect that the
Colin.
will be sufficient.
Caller.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Whatever you're playing in the background, why you turn it down? Go ahead.
No, I'm not in my background, mate. Not in my background.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's called is he Minister of Agriculture? What's the name? The Minister of Agriculture. What's his name again?
Floyd Green.
Samuda. Oh, Floyd Green. Okay.
Floyd Green is agriculture.
Anyway, okay. One thing I like to speak about now, just recently the Prime Minister went down to Westmoreland to address some people who are living in the schools.
Yeah.
These people have been through the rough period, you know what I mean? And what he should have done when he went down there, he should have assured the people then that, okay, I have checked, I do all my check, and I know many of you are homeless. So I'm going to give you some tent and some sleeping bags so you can maybe go back to your place if you can't go back there, and pitch a tent, and then we will take with time and sort you out, make sure you get back into your place. But he's down there verbally abusing the people who is traumatized. You know what I mean? it
What
doesn't
you
go down there
mean?
and
What
give
you
the people
mean
no
by?
assurance. Okay.
What you mean by he's verbally abusing them? I don't understand that. What that mean? What did he
Well,
say
well,
that make you draw that conclusion?
Well, what you should have tell the people, see me. We have done our survey.
No, man,
and
the question
we have some
no, caller. You accuse the Prime Minister of verbally abusing the people. And I am asking you, what did the Prime Minister say to bring you to that conclusion?
Well, I tell you the reason why. He have not given people no assurance
Caller.
that they, so, hello?
No, man, we're not talking about where you think him should have do. You say him abuse the people and verbally, so you don't need to tell me what did the Prime Minister say that brought you to that conclusion.
Well, the way he speak to the people, the way he address the people, you know what I mean? That to me, that's verbal abuse. He should have given people assurance. To say, mate, we see the play they're going through, and we have some tents, we have some beds which are going to us. We're going to give it to you, and if you can recycle at your place, you do that until we sort you out. You know what I'm saying? But he does give them no assurance. He said that you got to go up by some additional date. And these are people who are lying down and boards and desks. You know what I mean?
I don't hear you're telling us what you think the Prime Minister should have done, and that's fine. But to accuse the Prime Minister of verbally abusing the people, I don't know, I never hear that. I'm just saying,
the way he speak, to people and say this, get a deadline and you got to leave the school. To me, that's verbal abuse.
No, but there is that deadline. There is a deadline.
Sorry?
And there is a deadline.
I agree.
And there ought to be that deadline. But it is also the government's responsibility to find somewhere to put these people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it should have gone on and said to me now. We have find a place to put you, and who can go back to the after you do assessment and say, okay, who can go back to the place? We give you a tent, and we give you sleeping bags or cot, and then we'll take your time and sort you out so that you get more settled. But he's just going there and understand this people, you got to leave by the time, and you give people no assurance that they're going to have a place to sleep.
Well, the people need not worry, because the government have to find somewhere to put them. They can't put them out in a cut neither, give them tent and cut. Them have to build somewhere, set up somewhere to put the people them. So, me understand you, but me not worry about the people them where in the shelter. They have to find somewhere to put them. They can't just put them out.
Colin, he has not given people assurance. They went down there. They should have all their T's crossed. And
Well, guess what?
Done our assessment.
Dayton Campbell has given the people an assurance that if they try put them out of the school without somewhere proper to house them, he himself will block it. So that is the assurance of where I respond.
Well, Colin, listen me now. This government is as parade themselves as a caring government, and their behavior is not showing no care. You know what I'm saying?
I don't see that care. I don't see the care. I don't see that care nor the urgency from this government about the people in North West. Me not see it.
No. And based on track record, take for instance, he's asking the private sector to join the government in building houses. You know what I mean? At the same time, he's bulldozing people who sit down in Spanish Town who had invest their money and try to build a place themselves. He's signing off and bulldozing people out of the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
You know, and the reality is he must stop parading himself as caring, because he by his track record he doesn't show this caring.
Well, we have to show it up, and I don't see the caring side of this government. If they were more concerned, and I said to all of the people out there were a bat for the government, because I think them wicked. Because if there was concern and care, the assessment would have been done already. And if it's not done yet, I am saying to the Minister of Labor, you shouldn't take more than 7 days, 7 more days to finish that assessment. Because if we wait until January for the assessment to be complete, people are going to suffer like dog. Tell you that.
People are suffering already. People are already suffering already.
Yeah, and the suffering going to last for long.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's proud himself that he's a caring government, and he's down there pushing on people out over in Clifton who has invested their money.
Somebody at Georgia is saying that the PM tone always sounds verbally abusive. I don't know if I saw him sound rough.
Well, Colin, listen me. If you push down my house over in Clifton, that's more than abuse, mate.
Yeah, that was one that I think that did call for a revolution, but no revolution never go on. You know? Our people, nowadays soft.
At the same time, now he's in Parliament talking about people to join the government and as part of investor and come and invest to build houses. This guy, he has a serious problem.
But Carla, we are tell the Prime Minister a long time, say if we go down and West go build house to the people, them call the developer them, give them some contract, make them build some house quick and fast, and put in God people them night. But the Prime Minister and the clowns them where a cheer him and don't have no vision. And that's why we tell them they need to start praying not just for money, but for vision, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Pray for some compassion. Because they're not showing no compassion for the people who are suffering real bad.
Colin,
yes,
this government have no track record in the house. Action speak louder than words. He has no track record of being in the house. Action speak louder than words. And that's what we need to look at.
All right.
He has no track record of being in houses.
All right, Carla, thanks. Somebody in the chat room said, may I try so nice to the Prime Minister? No. When I try so nice to the Prime Minister, as me say, we fear right around here, so, and we're fearless. So to be fear, if somebody come and say something to the Prime Minister and I know it not to be true, me I go call it out. You understand? I am going to call it out. Like me hear some labor writer say, Mark Golding a Barabbas, and Andrew Holness a God. And I want to say to those people, nothing can go so. If any Barabbas in the thing, it have to be Andrew. Because Andrew is the only one out of the two that his statutory filing has not been certified. So there's accusation of bad practice on Andrew's side. There's no accusation of bad practice on Mark Golding's side. Because the labor right them like talk about FinSAC. There is nothing that Mark Golding do where you can say Mark Golding do something where you could have charged him in a FinSAC. Not no go so. We're live on Portland Spice TV right now. The number to call is 876-804-7072. This is the Colin Bell Show, where we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So, it is about giving accurate information. As me say, we're not vlogger and we are not blogger. You understand? So, I could go back to this.
There was a correction made today with a movement from the Ministry of Education from 616 million to 2.31 billion, 2,316 million. Was that a correction of a mistake, or was that a conversation that they had post the PAAC?
You see?
Okay. Yes.
I'm trying to get Omar. I know the connection, them not so
provided
nice.
a contingency for Melissa, and it was out of that that allocation was taken for the Ministry of Education. Once we determine what it is, they could spend during the financial
All right, I could go to
year.
the caller. Yeah. We still not get MP Omar Newell yet. But as soon as we get him, we're going to talk to him. Caller, good evening.
Bless up, Mr. Bell. What's up?
My there, brother. Wagwan.
I catch the last part of the argument with the lady there, the police lady there. What was the argument about there?
She's saying that in the restructuring of salary scale and all of them something there, we happened the other day on Nigel Clark. She got some back money or some, I think she says it was a one-time payment that the government paid to police. And when they calculated it up, they were supposed to get like 1.3 million. But tax take out 1,025,000. She only get 275,000 she get out of the 1.3. Never I say no go so.
Hey, Carl, let me tell you something. I'm a farmer member of the police force. Let me tell you something. None of them police in a sense. None of them.
But
or even negotiate with criminal.
No, it wasn't a negotiation, basically what she's saying, you know. Just a one-off payment that the government gave to police officers, I think, based on them years of service. Them just give them something because them that do the whole restructuring of the pay scale. So
but what's right now government owe them money and them not gonna get it.
Yeah, government owe them
money.
Now,
government owe them money right now, them not get it. And them vote back in for I don't understand. Or if you negotiate with criminal. Or if you know that this man is a thief.
Hold on.
Your sister the man is a thief and you want to negotiate to them. I don't understand.
Then what if you do? What could they have done? What could they have done?
You know, vote out the man. Because I'm tell you something, majority 95% of the police force vote for Andrew Holness.
You think so?
And facts me I tell you. Facts me I tell you, Colin.
Well, me don't know
95% of the police force vote for him.
Me uncle can listen to that. I think that is your opinion. That's an opinion.
Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bell, me have to give them a break. Me have to give them a break because I don't understand how people so fool. Me give them a break, me give them a walk.
Your walk left them.
People never so fool. People never so fool, brother, man. You have to get punished for your stupidity, man. Harsh, too. Yes, man. When you're so fool, man, you have to get punished harsh. So right now, me not interested in no police or ball and talk about back money and this. Then deserve everything what them I get, man. Every single thing. You understand?
Yes.
I see I try to put up a fight and I try to accommodate some of them labor right there, but boy, you better than me.
No, me not accommodate
because
them. Me not accommodate them. Right here, so we are cutting things down the line. You see the truth? And the truth we are chopped.
Yeah.
So if somebody come with some misinformation, me I go correct it.
Yeah.
Because I know the truth.
It make a difference. It make a difference when the truth is stated in their face, they refuse to see it. They don't want to see it.
But make we beat them with
they
that.
Cover their eye.
Make we hammer them with that. Make we hammer them with that. Because you see when you preach the truth, brother. You see when you preach the truth, them can't take you on. Them can't take you on.
Labor right now no reasoning ability, man. And that's why I'm not engaged in no conversation with labor right. Me give them a walk. It only rise up your blood pressure.
I hear you,
yes,
sir.
man. Them lack the reasoning ability, man. Lock it. Have sound and conscious conversation.
Obviously.
Lock it.
Obviously, because you see right now, them have some labor right and monitor the page. That channel there. Them have some labor right and monitor the channel. And they are so deaf and dumb and stupid. The ones them will monitor the channel. Because then they have little sense, them would have take some ideas and give them government. And say, yo,
Mr.
we want to think about that idea.
I was a regular listener of audience of nationwide news. And I used to comment in the section.
Yeah.
And when me realized that 3,000 listeners and subscribers, majority of them are idiot. I decided to come and fight. That's why I give myself the name John because Because in order for you to talk to them labor right, you have to talk to them like animal. They don't understand the other language. They can't understand the other. You have to talk to them like animal for they understand.
Yeah, man. You
understand me?
And that's why I say, you see, with the truth, we have to use the truth and step on them. Just step on them with the truth. Yeah? Because they eat me like poison, you know, brother. They eat me like poison, you know. Hold on. Me give you a joke. You want to shaky one have a channel where at a point me and him did good. And me actually bring him into the media business certain way.
And if he attack?
No call him name. So me see him go on with that thing the other day and them attack pure foolishness. So me say, all right, him have about 30 odd people are watching. So me say, all right, boom, I'm jump over there. I'm jump over them, you have someone say, oh, if you are host this man, I'm gone, you know. Because them can't take it truth, you know, brother. Yeah, man, someone jump off, man. Run.
It's like garlic and vampire. And holy water.
Tell her. Because I tell them every day, you know. I tell them every day. I tell them every day. I am on this live here. A minimum about 8 hours a week with an open phone line. Call me and challenge me argument. Call me. And I like me a box like them where them have to accept you in the box. 876-804-7072. Anybody can call and challenge my argument. I don't
I mean, the one call if I talk to you about from last week still. I try to get you from last week, but I couldn't get out. The Maroon, listen this. If Richard Curry come up with a plan and say, he will take the goods, but don't give him the manpower.
Time have that.
Isn't that a greater plan for Jamaica overall? If you can mobilize the JDF and carry them go somewhere else instead of you waste the time and carry them go Maroon Town. You know, greater for Jamaica.
Of course.
It's greater for Jamaica, you know.
What you mean?
Because you wait the man tell us that him don't need the manpower. It's better off for you as the government. Instead of you waste the time at the Maroon Town, go somewhere else like which part the hurricane actually land. Go on the Westmoreland and go help the people and build up that house. Why? And labor rights sit down and try to convince other people to say, Richard Curry this and Richard Curry that.
But brother,
people don't have no sense of.
Brother, Nikisha Burchell in the parliament I beg for the soldier. Them send them come at me. Me need them.
Them down, that's good. Yes. Oh yes, hot-headed for go down in the people them land. Your granny band come see the maroon them with their land. Your great granny band come see the maroon them with their land. Your poopa band come see them with their land. Your mama, your father, your brother, your sister. But you to get up on yourself and tell yourself, say, the maroon them not deserve their land. How him want so bad?
Let me tell you something, yeah, my brother. You see them people, yeah? Them just a different side. Then do him like them fellow men. Because if you love your fellow men, you'd have call out this government.
If Andrew tell us the sky green, then believe it. And then look up in the sky and see the sky blue, then believe it, you know?
Yes, man.
Me never yet see some set of people where boy, I'm not even want to disrespect them, but honestly to God, people not so fool, man. You're not so fool, brother. All right, my boss, we link up another time, but boy, may I tell you, them people that never seems fear amaze you.
A true, man. Them bad for true. We're trying to get to Omar.
All right, respect.
Yeah, man. We're trying to reach Omar. We know him dep on the road. We have the intention to talk to Ralston Iman at about 6 o'clock. Hold the line for me, my brethren. Hold the line for me. Make a link you up on that thing. Yeah. Hold on there. Because some people don't understand themselves at all. But there comes a time, you know, when you can't hold on the truth. You cannot hold it down. There comes a time when the truth of a surface, like oil, have to surface. Yes, caller. Hello?
Alan,
Yeah, man. Hold on. Go ahead.
The JSF are labor right for true. So anything when just say are true. And then make we in the position where we're in right now because we did try convince some of them in 2016 and it never worked. And then make we in the position right now from the $1.5 million we are trying to convince them. Then take it and run with it. I don't see if them deal with that. Them are the problem where we're in this right now. Civil servant and police, them are labor right for true. I witness that myself and I can tell you that a true matter. I run too.
You run from them too. Bless up yourself.
Yeah, man, I run from them too.
All right. Byron.
Yes, my brother.
What go on, man?
Blessings, my brother.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, let me just big up, all your subscribers. And yes, people, right? From once you in the vicinity, your Colin Bell is, right, you are going to be edified. Now, having said that, Colin.
Yeah.
As it relates to the clip that you had played relating to Favor Williams.
Oh God.
I'm going to speak on it briefly.
Yes.
Now, based on Favor argument.
Hold on, the people, this is Mystic
right?
Sensation we're talking to. Yeah, man, continue.
All right. Based on Favor argument, right? As it relates to his response to Julian Robinson, right? And she was speaking of the potential mandate as it relates to the $150 million as it relates to JPS. And where she had said that $450 million, right, will be, let me use future tense, will be put aside, right?
Yes.
And for JPS to draw down on as a potential loan.
How much you said? How much you said?
The 450 million.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. So the 450 million that the IMF is going to put aside for JPS to draw down on, and then the $150 million, right, that the government, right, had given to JPS, right, we will be getting back that money. I am asking you this question, brother Bell. Is the $450 million that's set aside is independent from the $6.8 billion loan that we have gotten from IMF?
All right. So it's not 6.8, 6.7 them say. And then it's not even really 6.7 because some out of that is the insurance money that we have insured the country for. So here is the split.
Yes.
There is a $3.6 billion that is a sovereign loan. That is a loan to the government of Jamaica. There is there is 2.4 that the government cannot access. That 2.4 is a private sector loan that the multilaterals have reached out to their private sector their investors, and they are mobilizing, the word that they use is mobilizing them to make available $2.4 billion. From that $2.4 billion is where the JPS 450 million would come from.
Okay, so that clarity is clear. That clarity is clear. So the question that I'm going to ask you, so then specifically then, we are only borrowing what, $3.4 billion from IMF?
3.6, maybe about 4 little. Because there's there's 700 million that the government right now have access to. Because that 3.6, the government have no access to that yet. There's 700 million that the government can touch right now. And that includes some loan that they can draw down on the IMF when you have disasters like these. That include the $150 million catastrophe ban. It includes $90 million from CREF. That's the CREF, that the Caribbean insurance, that the one that Omar Davis start. And there are some other little money that add up to that $700 million. The 3.6, the negotiation for that will start in January. Negotiation. What the multilateral said to them that this, based on where they have a discussion with the Prime Minister and whatever, at G20. This is where we come up with one we can get. So you have to come talk to it for it now, and we do the necessary assessment. That not start yet.
Okay, and that will be the only thing that will be paying tax on.
So we'll be paying interest on that 3.6 and maybe about another 400 million. So I when I calculate it, I say it's $4 billion that the government getting to borrow.
Okay, so that is the understanding. So we want to update the people now. That is the understanding,
yes,
as it relates to what we are borrowing. Now I want to my next thing that I want to speak to you on is a situation that is developing as it relates to the maroon.
Yeah.
Right? And where we see the situation is becoming a little bit fluid.
Yeah.
Because it appears as if, right, I don't know, as it relates to the Prime Minister plan to still, send in soldiers, right, as a result of Korea response.
Yeah.
But the sentiment that a lot of people have and where I think that certain things have been exaggerated as it relates to the terminology of sovereignty. And I have seen that where you have a lot of people, right, speaking about sovereignty as it relates to a society that has a constitution, and a constitution that makes them a sovereign state. Now, while that is true, let me say, the government just can't dismiss, right, the 1738 treaty that the Maroon had. And I think that, Kore's statement has been misconstrued as it relates to sovereignty, because I think when the sentiment sent out as it relates to protecting the Maroon sovereignty, it appears as if there's a challenge to the government. Korea is not challenging the government as it relates to the government authority. At no given time, that Korea stated that, okay, he's not under the Constitution of Jamaica. So that is not the point. The point is that the territory, right, that as it relates to the treaty must be respected. And that is a sovereign claim as it relates to the inhabited area of the Maroon territory. So where the government is going with this, it appears as if maybe he's being challenged of his authority to say it's only one state, right? And you can't have a state within a state, right? At no time that Korea, as it relates to, right, when I listen to Korea, right, speaking as if he wants to challenge the government authority in terms of a state within a state. So then we have to make it precisely clear that what being defended is the 1738 treaty that's supposed to be honored, right, and its territory supposed to be protected accordingly. So I'm asking you, Sir Bell, what is your concern on the matter?
Well, you see, as a Maroon myself, Byron, I understand the whole thing about a Kompong, about Moortown, about Charlestown, down there in Trelawney. Now, what a lot of people are missing is that the Maroon have certain privileges that the average citizen of Jamaica does not have. And I like to point to one that is general and easy to understand. Living in these Maroon communities, they don't pay property taxes because the British in those treaties have given land to the Maroon, to our people. In Moortown is 1,000-acre land we get. You understand? And we don't pay no taxes for them. The government can't tax we, because I call it reparation. the Maroons receive reparation. And therefore, even certain misdemeanor, certain crime where you're committing at the Maroon area, the Maroons have autonomy to deal with you, except for certain murders and them kind of something that the police don't have to go to a compound and don't have to go to Moortown, because that treaty give them a certain amount of autonomy. And therefore, if you are operating your community, leading your community as some, and people must also remember that the Maroon chiefs, the colonels, they are elected by the people. They go in an election and they are elected by the people. So if you're running your thing good and over 1,000 people live up our compound, and you are saying that to the government, listen, give us the material. We have manpower, because right now the government is stretched thin. Never tell me yesterday morning said the government not build no house yet for nobody since the hurricane. A lot of people roofs not gone on yet. You have over 1,000 people still in shelters. Is a reason why these people are in shelters. So you don't need to try fight the Maroon.
But what's this now? What's this now, sir, Ben? What's this now, sir, Ben?
Byron.
Because if you are, yes.
I have an interview lined up with Omar Noel. I know he was on the road.
Okay.
Trying to get to me. So let me take this and let me get back to you, yeah?
Okay, my brother.
Well, go on, teacher. You ready? All right. Hold the line for me. We've been trying. Tell us that we're supposed to get to him. What's going on there, so? I could see if we can set this phone. Look like we still have Byron over there, so. All right, Byron, we're going to end the call and we'll touch back base with you. So we can
cool.
So we can put through Omar.
All right.
And him could sound like him could have it stay, you know. I put through the MP for Central St. Mary, the man where I burned the fire. And then after we talk to him, then we touch base with Ralston Iman. You're listening to the Colin Bell Show. We're live on Portland Spice TV. Yeah, man. MP. Member of Parliament for Central St. Mary people and the chairman for Region 2. Region 2 consists of St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary. Welcome to Portland Spice TV, sir.
Greetings, Colin. Good evening to your listeners, the entire Portland Spice family.
Yes, man. We know you're on the road because, I mean, you're a seasoned politician. You might be a new MP, but a seasoned politician. You have been in there now, what? September, October, November, 3 months. How has it been, Omar?
I mean, it has been a challenge in that we got thrown in. I got thrown in on the 18th of September, and there was no parliament for about 2 or so weeks after. When we went back to parliament, we started preparation for the most devastating hurricane known to modern Jamaica. So, you know, it's just been one thing after the next since going in, the preparation for the hurricane, and then the hurricane, and then the post-hurricane preparation are now taking.
Well, let's take it from Melissa. Tell us a little bit about your areas, because some of your areas got hard hit as well.
Yeah, and the thing about my areas, as I said to everybody who I speak with, because we're not in one of the most devastated parishes, we have to rely on the modest resources from the state and what we're able to get from friends and family. But we have about a little over $5 billion Jamaican dollars worth of damage based on preliminary estimates to residential dwellings. In addition to that, we have a number of agriculture damage and other businesses. So it's been pretty significant. We have been calling on a lot of friends and we have been getting some amount of relief. a couple of barrels supposed to be coming from the US. This time at Christmas a little more merry, putting on some roof to the recap. But we don't have as much damage as Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Hanover, and St. James and Trelawney, but we have a significant amount.
But do you think that you are getting enough focus that you want for your people?
No, we're not getting enough focus.
No.
And I'm in a tough situation where I fiercely advocate for my people, but I know that when I push too hard, the images from the West will always come up.
Yes.
And yeah, that sometimes both myself and MP Russell was down in Parliament, and we kind of wrestle over how much we push, because we want to give space to the people who, the majority of the 90,000 houses that have been destroyed. We want to give space to people who represent that part of the country as much as possible.
But it's still difficult on you.
It absolutely is.
How far can the little money that the government, what tier you end up in? How much you get? 5 million for help build back house?
3 million.
3 million.
Yeah.
Where can that go?
I mean, I would have prefer not to get none, because what you're gonna find when a man living a plyboard and zinc house and him house get damaged, or if a man even living a better and him get damaged and come to you, you can't do nothing more than buy him a few feet of ply and a few feet of zinc.
But
so you're putting him back in a position where next year after the hurricane, the same person who came to you after burial come to you after Melissa, and you're bringing them nowhere further, so they're going to come to you after the next weather event.
But Omar, you think that makes sense? Put him in back in that position? As you rightfully say, he came to you in burial, now in Melissa, and he's going to come back to you next year. What would you want the government to do?
Well, I think we need to probably call, if we don't have the resources to do it, have a call on the international partners and probably start off looking at some housing kits. So in New Orleans, after Katrina, the U.S. government tried trailer parks and containerized housing, and some of those kind of rotting there now because, it just wasn't suitable.
Right.
A lot of experts suggest that sheltering in place is the better approach. So a man might lose, a man have partial damage, place can live it now. We're using the army and probably getting some kind of roof and repair kit to that family might be of more use than moving them out and putting them in a container.
But what are your views on the container house, Omar, that the government said they're going to buy 5,000? You think that is what Jamaica needs right now?
Well, as I said to you, the reality coming out of the last disaster zone that I know, container houses are used in a significant way, which is New Orleans. It's so tech that it is less than ideal.
What are your views on concrete shell? Build them at 24 by 12, column up and deck the roof, because I am of the opinion, Omar, that nobody should go back. Nobody who get damaged in this should be put back in a zinc roof. Omar, what are your views on that?
Yeah, man. Well, I don't have the expertise. I don't have the engineering background. I've heard both views. I've heard engineers indicate that you can do a zinc roof in a way where it doesn't have the space for the wind to the lift. I've heard that using screw as opposed to nails will help to give you a better chance of sheltering.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that if I was in power, I would be able to respond to the call to put a slab roof on everybody's house. So I don't have the expertise to tell you what the best build would be.
Okay. So as it relates to the container house or the concrete house, you are just saying put the people in a something.
Well, I'm not just saying put them in something. I'm saying put them in something that is modular. So my preference is concrete. Your preference is concrete. Even if that everybody going to get a free house. So you have the National Housing Trust, which is behind. I asked a question at EAAP last week. They're behind in terms of their capital spend.
Yes.
Which means in this supplementary budget, they would have had to come back to the parliament and say, all of that money we're going to spend for housing, we have not been able to spend all of it. But we have a crisis. And in my view, in a crisis, NHC should be spending more, and probably the parliament take a look at whether you relax some of the mortgage requirements so that NHC can build more small modular schemes so that their contributors, you take the contributors of the NHC contributors out of the regular citizens who might need total housing.
Yeah.
And you use that as one layer. And you see how you can get housing agents to go in, because they generally build some even more affordable housing than NHC.
Yes.
And you get them in the beginning. But I don't think now is the time to setting back housing money.
When people need shelter over their head.
Right. We have a crisis in terms of shelter, but it's not the time for that.
Isn't the NHT awash with cash, Omar?
Yeah, I can't quote the figures, but they have a significant amount of cash reserve. Significant.
And the government said that the economy is doing well. Don't you think they should be able to find some? They find 24 billion for JPS. Don't you think that the government can find some money to put some people in some house that have resilience? That's the word they like to use, resilience.
Yeah, and as I said, it's not. I'm not advocating for wholesale free housing. Yeah, but there's no question that more can be done. If we can give JPS a $24 billion, $25 billion bailout at 5.5% interest, then we can build some low-income houses at 3 or 4% interest.
Correct. And who can take them on?
Give us our bailout. Give us our bailout. So some of those smaller type units that might cost below $5 million based on the size.
Yes.
Still some of those so people can have some shelter and provide it at the 5 or 4% interest. And give us the same code that they're giving JPS.
Okay. Has the assessment been complete in your area, Omar?
It has not. There are still a few. I work closely with MLSS in my area because my view of my role as the leader in the constituency causes me to try and build a good relationship with everybody. So most areas I've been sending to MLSS, following up and ensuring that they go. But every now and then you still hear from a few people that they have not yet been assessed. So I still have a few areas left.
The Minister of Labour said that they will finish the assessment about January. Is that acceptable?
Well, at PAAC, we were told by MLSS that they would start making payments by December. So it is kind of strange that the expectation is that you're gonna finish the assessment in January if you're hoping to start paying in December.
But maybe they are gonna be paying those people who have already been assessed. They wouldn't make everybody wait.
But if you have infinite money, Colin, you'd expect that you'd sit down first and look at this is the total size of the problem.
Yes.
And this is the total size of the pie. And based on the size of the problem and the size of the pie, I have to give this tier of people X amount, that tier Y. That's not a blank check. That's not able to my knowledge.
So
my understanding that the government has a blank check.
So you don't understand how they're going complete in January, but they're ready to pay. Somebody again not talking the truth?
It's not clear to me.
Have you found since you
another thing when clear to me, is I think it's $225 million that the government said the Minister of Labour spent on food packets.
Well, 225, but also remember that 50 million was spent before the hurricane. So it's 100.
No, but I'm not go there, sir. No, not that matter about. So they're saying 225 million was spent on food packets.
Yeah.
I'm driving, so I don't have my notes in front of me. But when I look at the amount of food packages that they said they distribute, it works out to about 15,000 per care packet.
It's 15,000 you get?
Now, when you look, that's what I work out and get. Now, when
hold on, Omar. Let me tell you what I got. Because the man say 200. In fact, I calculated it at 250 million at about 360 care packages, 360,000. That's what they told us from ODPM. And when I calculate that is about $700 per food package.
Well, I can look back on the note that came to PAAC, but your notes are different from mine.
Yeah, you'd get more detailed information. Yes.
What you had from, because I think there are different things being circulated. So the 300 and odd thousand food packages, for example, I don't think that is just MLSS.
That is everybody. That is Ministry of Labor, and I think Pernell broke it down.
It's not just MLSS, but from MLSS, my calculation was over 15,000. I look back at it and share the notes with you.
15,000 per package.
When you look at a MLSS care package, though, about 2 pounds of flour, there's no rice in it, about a pound or 2 pounds of sugar. Two sausage, 2 sardines, a small bottle of oil. I do my packages for 5,000 each, and my packages, when I try to distribute, because I got about 100 or 200 from MLSS. And when I try to distribute the MLSS packages, my people tell me they want my $5,000 package.
So you're not seeing where that money is spent?
If the figures that I cited a while ago are correct,
yeah,
then I would want to drill down on the numbers to see what other components there are in this program. But
is that is that the package that the commander told Damien that can feed 4 people for mostly 5 days, something like that?
But Damien replied to him appropriately.
Yeah, man, I heard it. But is that the package you're referring to? That's the MLSS package?
It is. Well, I don't know. I don't know if ODPEM has a different package, because remember, ODPEM is under the Office of the Prime Minister, and it used to be under Ministry of Local Government.
Right, they move it.
Ministry of Labor might have a different package, but the package that I'm speaking of also cannot feed for a family of 4, or it cannot feed for 4 days.
That's what Damien told him, that it can't do what you say it do.
Right, so I'm saying, even if we're speaking of 2 different packages, 2
yeah,
different entities, this package that I'm speaking of, which is from MLSS. Yeah.
But Omar, MP Noel, I also looked at the money yesterday. And when you go to the supermarket, if you spend $20,000, you come home with not much.
Yeah.
And if you divide that money by $20,000, it can't be more than about 15,000 package. So that money can't do nothing either. If that's what the government spends.
No, repeat.
The 225 million.
Yes.
If you divide that by 20,000, because if you're going to supermarket to do something for a family of, how much you say, 4?
Yes.
And you spend...
Well, for a family for 4 days.
Right, and you spend $20,000.
Yeah.
It's 12,500 package that,
Yeah, man, yeah.
So that couldn't serve nobody either. So even if that's what they spend, that's inadequate.
Yeah, but what it so that they have spent, what they're using, and I'm saying it's not square.
No, it's not square, no weird, no shape, no form. But tell me something, Omar. You find
I want to listen now. 16,889 packages at 225 million. That is a number you need to look at.
Hold on, go again.
15,889 packages.
15,889. And how much money?
And it's 225 million.
By 2, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're talking about, hey boy. No, hold on. I do something wrong here. Let me just get this correct.
If it's a
6,000.
zero,
About $6,000.
no man. 15,889. That's the MLSS.
Divide by 15,889. Right, so
Yes.
it's $14,160 per package.
Yeah. And I send a picture of a package.
You send me a picture of a package?
Not yet.
Oh, because that would be lovely. That's what I'd love to see what that package looks like. So, but 15,000 package can't feed nobody. The Minister of
No, it
Labor.
can't. But again, remember, you know, that is just the ministry's
That's the one
that
from
is just what the ministry has done.
Ministry of Labor.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the question I want to ask you, Omar, if since you've been in the parliament, you find that the truth is difficult to come by.
Go ahead.
I'm asking if since you've been in the parliament, you find the truth difficult to come by.
It's people complicate and get get answers to specific questions. Week by week.
You're breaking up a
know.
little. Just repeat the answer again for me. You broke up a little a while ago.
To say that's an obfuscation in terms of up to now we don't know, for example, how much money is required to restore electricity to Jamaicans. Minister came to Parliament and said the APS said they need 350 million.
Yes.
The government approved 4 million. The minister asked some questions regarding that 150 million, go on a soapbox and give the impression that it's not allowed really to ask any question. So it's very difficult getting answers. And Minister of Finance, more often that doesn't seem to the answer to almost any question that is asked.
You asked.
I don't know if it is deliberate or if it is incompetent.
What do you think it is?
I can't tell it. I can't tell it. It's very difficult to tell.
Through the train eye.
But either of those is back from Jamaica.
That is a fact. Omar,
so whether they're deliberately withholding information or they are just not, the minister isn't up on her brief, both of those are not ideal.
Are there penalties for misleading the House?
I don't think there not. I mean, you can get somebody to withdraw a statement, but not much options are available to the minority party in Westminster.
When you asked the minister and you read from the answer, so you quoted her verbatim, and the minister looked at you and you said, "We wish with you, minister. Thank you." What kind of moment was that? Because a lot of us see you throwing the minister under the bus.
No, but it's not my bus, It's the Prime Minister's bus. It's not my bus to throw her. It's not on my bus. But here's a challenge I had, Solid.
Yeah.
The minister came to Parliament and pretty much told us that there is some money coming that JPS will be getting.
Oh yes.
From which JPS will, among other things, repay what they owe to the government of Jamaica. So I would believe that the reason the minister thought it's important to come and say that is because people were talking about whether there is any risk to us in terms of lending the money to JPS and all the conversations around. But in asking the minister the question and in hearing other colleagues ask the question, I realized that it was not really an agreement, it was more a wish. I'm a patriotic Jamaican, Colin.
Yeah.
So if the minister can come to Parliament and do his wish, and if he's going to frustrate or attempt to frustrate my attempts to get an answer from her, she's the Minister of Finance. All I can do is wish along with her.
And leave her alone. Make she talk pure foolishness.
Yeah, man, I would hope that she would come and it would be a concrete plan and she would give me the confidence that this is what I had said last week and based on this is what is going to happen and, you know, but if she can't and if all she can give us is a wish, what am I going to do?
But
and am I Jamaica?
Is it that the opposition is against the government giving JPS the loan of $24 billion?
Absolutely not. Nobody has said that. What we're against, our position has been clear. How much money is required to restore electricity to Jamaicans? You tell us the amount, then the figure we had to work with was $350 million from the energy minister.
Right.
He has not been able to tell us otherwise. He came to Parliament and said $350 million.
Yes.
So we are lending $150 million, which means now, Colin, you as a businessman know that if your staff come to you and say go and cost $350,000 Jamaican dollars to do something in 1 month, and you say to them, well, I want to do fast and I want to do it in 2 weeks, you know it's going to cost them more money because you're going to put more people on it.
Yes.
You're going to either put more people or more resources in terms of equipment, something more on it. So it's generally not going to cost you just the $350 million.
Right.
The $350,000. So I had an interest in finding out, since we're doing this thing, we're speeding up, which I'm good with, what is it going to cost? If it's more than 150, have we tried to ensure that JPS secure their part of it? So that when we give this 150, we're not just making Jamaicans feel that everything good, but actually making them know everything good.
Yeah, but what is the problem if they go and get back the current with the 150? Why we have a problem with it?
So we can't have a problem, but we have asked that question, and anytime you ask that question, you hear bad mind on the piece of electricity. And, you know, it's kind of like a schoolboy kind of approach to debating, as opposed to a serious kind of deliberation that you expect in your legislature.
Yeah, but elections have consequences, you know, Omar. And what they are saying to the opposition is that you are all bad mind. You lost the election on the 3rd of September. Go sit down.
But we have an opposition of 22 in the Parliament.
28.
And we're all
28.
And every member of Parliament.
28, Omar,
28.
not 22. 28.
28. Yeah,
yes.
Man, 28, no problem. And every member of Parliament is equal among members of Parliament in the Parliament.
Yes.
Yes? The Constitution of Jamaica and the standing order and a recognized political party. You know.
That is a fact.
You will never see the term political party in the Constitution of Jamaica.
That is right.
So we are there to do a job. We are there to do a job, which is to hold the executive accountable. If the Minister of Energy, who is a member of the executive, comes to Parliament, we have a right to ask him questions.
Yes.
And it is clear that he does not believe that we have that right. So he will come and grandstand and, you know, try to mischaracterize what is said. And that is his style. But we have a responsibility as a legislator to ask questions and answers, as opposed to just rubber stamping. I'm not here to rubber stamp for anybody.
You were also asking the minister about what? $100 million that you're not understanding as it relates to the constituency development fund move to something else?
You're misrepresenting what I was asking, Colin.
Make it clear for me.
I wasn't asking about 100 and odd million that I don't understand. I was asking about 100 and odd million that the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Finance have been unable to account for. It's money that is there, you know. It's money that is there.
Talk to
and
me.
they claimed a particular purpose. But initially, they had claimed 800 and odd million was there for a particular purpose. When
Yes.
I called them out on it, they wired some monies to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development and said that was a mistake. I said, all right, no problem. I see why you put it over there because of the mistake. But when you do the math, there's still $100 million there, which you say is for constituency development fund. But passing a program or project that has been allocated to members of parliament. So tell me where that money go.
Yeah.
And they have not been able to tell us where that money go. So it's not a confusion. I am very clear that that money is there and needs to be accounted for.
So when you're going to ask about that piece of food again?
Every opportunity I get.
So,
like I just asked about it again a while ago. You want me to ask?
Yes.
Prime Minister, Office of the Prime Minister, I asked the Permanent Secretary, I asked the Minister of Finance. None have been able to tell me where that $100 and odd million with the line item Constituency Development Fund, where it went. I still want to know, and I think the people of Jamaica deserve to know, because the Parliament is where you say parliamentarians have an opportunity to hold the government to account. So we want to hold you to account. So tell us where this money was spent. Was it spent to some other constituencies? Is it an off-the-book spending to other constituencies? I know you might have some discretion. Tell us. At least let us know.
Ministers.
Hold on. You ask the minister about the JPS money, Omar. But it is critical that this money that was mentioned.
Of 68% for debt to GDP.
Hold on.
How do I compare that to the 41% wipeout of GDP? Question to understand that figure.
Here it is. Here's what the minister told us in the parliament.
The question about the loan to JPS, is the government prepared to lend the entire amount? I think that was your question. So the loan to JPS was $150 million so that they could accelerate the pace at which Jamaicans get their lights back, at which businesses get their light back. Madam Speaker, already I could say to you, you don't have to worry that the government is going to lend the entire amount, right? Already our international partners have indicated that within that package that's announced, there is about $450 million for JPS. And what that will do is allow for our loan of $150 million to be repaid back to us, so we get back the liquidity. It didn't happen last Tuesday.
Right. Omar, you asked her about this in the parliament.
Yes.
But when you listen to the minister, she was very cool, calm, and calculated. And she said what she said. When I listened to that, I garner from that, and based on what Darrell Vaz said, that JPS must get an extension on their license for the minister to make that announcement in the parliament. When you ask her about it, she bob and weave and go around it. What are your opinion of the statement when it was made while you asked that question, Omar?
No, I'm not going to speculate on the license.
But forget the license.
Will come when we'll be able to ask questions on the license and whether there will be an extension or whether there is.
But forget the license. Is a reason why you got to it.
No.
What were you thinking?
But hear me out. The minister misled the House. The minister said we have no reason to worry.
Right.
We don't have no reason to worry. because within the agreement with the multilaterals, some monies have been set aside for JPS. That's what she said.
Yes.
So we have no reason to be worried. Yeah?
But
and she was responding, I think, to a question from Damon Crawford.
No, from Isaac Buchanan.
From Isaac Buchanan. So she was responding to a question from Isaac Buchanan, and she was saying we don't need to worry.
Yes.
But it don't sound like it. But when her response was quoted the following week, it sounded as if we had reason to worry because she never had the same level of confidence.
And that's why I'm trying to find out if there's something that you know, why you go back to it. Because I really appreciated when you went back to that, Because that is where my thinking is. It is the second in command Minister of Finance that made the statement in the House of Representatives, which is a house of record.
At PAAC, I think the prior week, the financial secretary, when asked about the agreement between JPS and multilaterals,
she said,
and when asked about components of the $6.7 billion US dollar package, pretty much said the headline was misleading.
Yes.
You're right. So she pretty much said the headline was misleading. So that caused me to have some further questions about aspects of that 0.7 billion.
Yeah.
So we're clear that the multilaterals are lending 3.2?
6.
Or 3.6.
Yes.
So they're lending $3.6 billion to Jamaica. We're clear on that.
To the government of Jamaica.
So we're to the government of Jamaica. So we're clear on that.
Right.
But this out of left field thing the previous week from the minister, and our dissatisfaction with the response, the answers to the questions when asked at PAAC of the financial secretary, who really would do the heavy lifting.
Yes.
So, your permanent secretary most oftentimes know more than the minister because they're doing the real-time work.
Yeah.
And briefing the minister. Minister deal with policy. So for the minister to, and unprovoked to, Colin, she had no reason to make that statement,
No, she was asked by Isaac Buchanan, based on the fact that JPS need the 350 million, you only lend out 150. Is the government willing? Would the government be willing to give JPS the entire 350? That's the question.
I am not prepared to speak on that at this moment.
No, hold on.
I'm saying
that's what you should have said. But no.
So I'm saying unprovoked.
But the minister knows something, Omar.
Without much provocation.
Omar?
She added that to the conversation.
The minister knows something, so she beat her chest. Don't worry about it. JPS will be getting 450 million from the multilateral package, that 2.4, that is for private sector. The only way JPS can draw down 2.4 from the multilateral, Darrell Vaz tell us the week before that the multilateral said they will lend JPS the money if you give them 8 to 10 years. The minister, what happened, viewers? The minister spoke out a turn.
You are in the media business, Colin.
Yes.
And I am in another side of the business.
Yes.
So I am not going to join you on that. I'm waiting because
fair enough.
A conversation will come regarding the license at an appropriate time.
Yes.
And as you might have seen, I'm not afraid to go to the Hansard and say, well, this is what was said.
And that was brilliant, Omar. Let me tell you, that was brilliant. And then a lot of people might not know Omar have a law degree. Maybe not come at the bar at Jamaica yet if you have a drink, but he has a and that at that finish, Minister, we wish with you, thank you. Lock off the mic and relax. That finish was when a lawyer will a client in the court, will a witness and dash with the witness and left the witness.
Nothing more to say.
Nothing more to say. The witness and babble to the jury, and then the jury looks at. But if you don't have nothing to say, shut up. I think even Xavier Main was saying shut him out. No say nothing.
But Xavier still in us. So Xavier never had. I was telling them to bust the youth.
No, but how you going to bust Xavier Omar when Xavier is recommended to be charged by the Integrity Commission? Xavier should step aside.
Listen, Colin.
Yeah.
We know fully well that a junior minister does not speak when you're at standing finance committee.
So they just jar him.
Yeah, man. No, but there was no expectation that Xavier would have had an opportunity to speak. But the minister was doing such a she was having a bad night.
No, that's good. You have to be diplomatic because you're not in media. You're on the other side.
Yeah, man. She was having a bad night. So I thought she might have needed some help. And because Xavier was just sitting there.
Omar, you're following the numbers, and we see that you're reading your brief and you're reading the bills that they are bringing. And believe me, as our chairman down here, Region 2, and let me just tell the people that I am also one of the vice chairman for the region. So
yes,
let me just say that for clarity. Right?
Yes.
Because we don't hide our thing. So,
yes.
Omar, where do we go from here as it deals with the recovery and the whole issue of the assessment not being done fast enough, in my view? Is there anything that the opposition can do to push this a little faster?
No, so we chair the PAAC, and we have, Parliament is on a little break now.
Yes.
But we have been speaking and getting weekly updates from the main entity that is in charge of the recovery, which is primarily OPM right now. So that is your ultimate and all that. So we've been seeking, and we get some cooperation. We're not always pleased with the substance of it, but we get at least some cooperation in terms of presence and presentation on matters. So we'll continue to try and get, because the reason a lot of what took place at Standing Finance Committee came out of PAAC meetings.
Yes.
And it's kind of intertwined. So you go to Parliament to discuss something, an agency comes to PAAC, gives you another opportunity to ask them a question or to further interrogate a matter.
Yes.
So we're going to continue that advocacy.
Continue doing the good work, my brother. I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to play a breaking news for you and get your opinion on it. I don't know if you listen to news from evening, but listen this.
The Caribbean.
JPS announces a 7% rate hike tied to November consumption.
You hear that?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand it, Colin. Repeat what you said. What you said.
You want me to repeat or you want me to play it again?
I want you to repeat what you said. Don't editorialize.
JPS announced 7% increase tied to November bills.
And I'm trying to understand it. Because my wife showed me a Gleaner update.
Yes.
But I was driving in, so I glanced at it. But I'm trying to understand it. I like to understand things before I comment on them.
Well, tell you what.
Especially in this new era.
Yes. Where
this new dispensation.
Everything you say is recorded and is there for future receipt.
All right.
So, no problem, my brother. Just stay close. We'll call you and find out some more information from you as it relates to that at another time. We'll be in touch. All the best. And congratulations on the chairmanship of the region.
Thank you. And we have a lot to do.
Whole heap of work, my brother. One love.
One love.
People, Omar Newell. Big him up. The man are going well in the parliament. Doing the necessary work that needs to be done. Hold on, he's out. So, we're going to reach out to Raleigh right now. We're going to reach out to Raleigh. Not that, this. Let's reach out to Ralston Iman before we wrap up here tonight. Because this is where we speak truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth here. Raleigh. Hold on there, brother. Raleigh? Hold on there. We have Raleigh on the phone. Ralston Iman, welcome.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Blessed.
How things, my brother?
All right. A good one.
Last week I asked you if the bank will intervene into the market again. And you tell me yes. What is going to happen this week, Raleigh?
We're not quarterback like them, man. And amateur economists with them have on the tools. They might intervene on the market tomorrow. And although them customers will tell them things, them follow our advice. Them nobody come with 30 million tomorrow. They might come with 40 million.
Yeah, because you've been saying that them are put in 30 million in the market like a God tell them say that them put in.
Yep, which has no shock effect on the market. Yep.
So they're coming with 40 million US dollars tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
To shore up the Jamaican dollar. Where's the dollar today?
160. Let me make sure I get it right before. Hold on a second.
So the Christmas pressure is coming on the dollar. Is that the case?
So I'm going to make sure them try and cushion it. So let me get the official rate today. 160.82.
$160.82. So them are hold it together, Raleigh.
Yeah, by heavy intervention. This is the 32nd intervention since the start of the year.
But you expect to see any, what I would want to call, any more mopping up? Do you expect to see any more mopping up, Raleigh? Not
before Christmas, but that will resume in January.
So you're saying that in terms of mopping up liquidity, that is it for this year?
Yeah, but then they'll see that again in January.
The whole thing, Raleigh, we heard academia from the University of the West Indies talking last night, and he's talking about the heavy wipeout of the infrastructure and all of that. How can we expect to start growing by the first quarter of next year? Is that possible?
No, I don't see that. I'm going to see another decline in the first quarter of next year. But remember, the PIO going tell us we have a decline by 4.3% by the end of the fiscal year. The fiscal year ends at the first quarter of next year in March. So
right.
Yep.
But based on well, no, she said that in Beryl will start growing back right after. She don't think we'll grow back so quick. Then how is it that we're going to hold the debt to GDP ratio at a peak of 68.4%? How can we hold it at that peak?
And by the way, one correction. When you decline and you're coming back, it's not growth, it's a recovery. Yeah, recovery different from growth. Growth is when you're back where you started and you start moving already. You know, hole, you have to come at the top of the hole before you start grow. When you start crawl out of the hole, you're recovering. So that is misleading in the first place.
It's hard not to discuss this, Minister of Finance. Byron, your background a little bit noisy. It's
My
hard.
background?
No, man, I tell a call up on the other line, say them background noisy.
Okay.
How we can't stop talking about the Minister of Finance rally. But with these kind of data, anybody else is calling for the minister to be removed?
Well, we see it all over social media where people are saying the worst minister is since 1944. If you look on social media, you see it all now because it's obvious to everybody. Even some of our own supporters who some of my brethren, they must say they're very embarrassed with our performance. So there's no if in our button about that.
And we still haven't come up with any replacement for her.
No, which means that as many people said, Jesus saved us from her.
We just talked to Omar Noel a while ago, the freshly minted member of parliament from Central St. Mary. We had him on for a while, talking to him about some of the questions in the parliament. And he was very disturbed about the minister's performance last week, Tuesday.
Yeah, man. And the minister's performance has been continuously poor. Yeah, she's not ready for that work yet.
And then...
go ahead.
We cannot let the minister off because if the Minister of Finance come to the parliament and say that JPS going to get $450 million from the multilateral, we must believe that.
Yeah, man.
So, what it is that the government is hiding?
Well, I don't know, but I think what they're hiding, they're embarrassed to say that they have renewed the person's license because I can't see the multilaterals mobilizing that money without an extension because they are the ones who recommended that the license be extended to between 8 and 10 years.
And we can't believe that the minister would come to the house, as Omar said a while ago, unprovoked and tell that blatant lie.
No, that I'm telling you. Yep. So
Byron,
it have to come out.
Byron, you have any question for Ralston?
Yeah, what I want to ask, bless yourself, Brother Raleigh, you understand? Right? I always appreciate your assessment. Very powerful and factual. Let me say that. Now, I want some clarity here because it appears as if, as it relates to the JPS situation, right, that at the end result, right, my understanding is that we are not lending JPS anything. And one of the reasons why I'm saying that, because it was told that 450 million US dollars, you understand, put aside for JPS to draw down on. And $150 million out of that will be repaid back to us.
Yes.
And if that is the situation, simply means that we are not lending any, we are not lending JPS any, we are not giving JPS any loan, basically, because we will be getting back the money. Is that correct?
Yeah, man, it's simple, sir. What am I saying? What the minister said last week is that the 170 linemen of the man them have from foreign, right? The JPS couldn't pay them and them upfront the money or the letter of commitment to keep them money. And them want to bring in 300 more man this week in order to go and do some work over the Christmas season. So them give them lend them the 150 million upfront. That's why it was an upfront thing. And when them say no, next year, when them IDB and the World Bank mobilize the money from them will take back the 150 million from JPS. And then the JPS will get the rest of the money, 300 million from the multilaterals and the 45 million from the money with them have up at OUR.
Yeah.
So basically what them said, them only lend the JPS the money for a short time up front to deal with the present situation now. And then when the money comes from the multilaterals. The point that I'm making is that the money is not going to come from the multilaterals unless they extend the license because the multilaterals gave them that as a condition in order to mobilize the money.
Darrell Vaz told us that.
Right. So don't confuse yourself. Yeah, that is exactly what is going to happen.
Okay, thank you, Raleigh, for that.
Yeah. Because him run out in July and say him not extend the man them license. Them just embarrass now for come and say, boy, we have to bow and do that. Simple. You just have simple.
But the situation built by Beryl caused that. And the fact that the minister has been sleeping on the job because Philip Paulwell has been telling them that you can call in JPS. In fact, there should have been a review in 2020. And
yeah, man, you can't, right. Instead of go public and chat the whole of foolishness when chat.
Yeah, you should have called JPS and sit down with them and put things on the table long time. Because whatever oppressive clause that are in the contract, you can negotiate them anytime.
Of course. Yeah, man. Simple.
Raleigh, we have not...
Raleigh.
Go ahead.
Raleigh.
Go ahead, Byron.
Yeah, Raleigh, I want to just ask you your opinion on this. As a result of what happened with Hurricane Melissa, and we have 6 parishes that damage, and of course that would hold some good amount of threshold as it relates to JPS clients. Now, let me ask a question. Would it be prudent that, as it relates to policy, that we have an opportunity now that could use that opportunity, right, and have that 6 parishes, right, relating to renewable energy, right, and we can use that, right, as a possible scenario to, to have an understanding as it relates to, okay, if we go renewable, right, that would be increasing as it relates to purchasing power to that 6 parishes that affected over a period of time, and we watch that. Is that a prudent move to make for the government to proceed in that direction? Let me just hear back on your answer.
We have to move more rapidly towards renewable energy right across the country right now. And we have to move more rapidly in terms of, as Colin said, in terms of the clause with JPS, where they are the only distributor of electricity in the country. All them things have to change. Them are some of the things that them need to talk to the man them about instead of come public with the nonsense about them not renew them license. Because them never give the man them a chance to sit down and say whether they're going to reject that or not before him come with the foolishness. Yeah, so those are some of the things that want the monopoly on the distribution of electricity so that people who have renewables can either rent the grid or something like that. You know, them call it power wheeling, so you can produce power in a X place and sell it in a Y place. Those are some of the things that we need to discuss. This bad man thing and bad enough. You can't deal with international people and you can't deal with Jamaican people and they can't think them food. But you can't deal with them under them way.
We're not going to hold it too long, Raleigh. What this Christmas going to look like as it relates to money spending in Jamaica, Ralston?
Well, we just get a thing from the Bank of Jamaica say them are going to increase the supply by 12% in nominal terms and by 7% in real terms. Yeah, in order to try and facilitate some spending at the Christmas. But
what that mean? Talk numbers, talk money to us now, make we hear what that mean.
Yeah, the long and the short is that down so people are the money down there, so the whole thing will be green shade. Right? And in the corporate area, it will be the same thing. Because people are going to hold back because when people look and see the uncertainty will come next year, see the minister now have no real plan as to how the economy are going to expand. Everybody have a hold tight. So people are just have a modest Christmas. All the food prices them high. So people are just take it easy and have a modest Christmas.
So them all put the 12% equal to how much money?
Well, what them said, them had 21 billion to the supply to the stock of money by the end of December.
Mm-hmm. Then if you ever had $21 billion now, why you did take out 50?
Well, because what them said, them try counterbalance the thing because as we said, them are listen to you know. So as we tell them, say you can't just take out money out of the system so I make the thing so green shake.
Yeah.
So what them do now, say, all right, we're gonna add back 21 billion to the thing and make no have a little niceness.
So last week, them never had that plan last week.
No man, they don't see that even thing with the 40 million. They never have that plan. So all of them cuss when we tell them things. Them hide right back and then come back and do it when they think everybody forget about it. So a long time I tell them say, when you make it look like say God telling us you only intervene with 30 million. Don't come every time when you come at 30 million. I'm making myself too predictable.
So now they come with 40.
Yeah, precisely. So all of them go on like them now listen. Them are listen. Additionally, one thing I tell the governor, because all them ads when I run a talk about inflation and priority and all of them things.
Yeah.
You can't get inflation down if you reboot the agricultural sector because food prices account for 35% of the inflation rate. So you have to get the agricultural sector up and running. Now, to get the agricultural sector up and running, just give the man them to seed and all of them things. They're not going to work. The man them need money.
You have to get them to employ people. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I say I'm going to reboot the economy.
And get the housing stock going and stop talk about your carrying container. Start deal out the houses. Raleigh, JPS announced this evening that your November bill going to increase by 7%.
Mm-hmm.
You think that is a one-off increase or that is going to be constant over December, maybe January?
No, it's a one-off thing. And what I say, I mean, the OUR put out the thing, just attack the JPS people, and the OUR put out the thing. And what I say, again, one thing is that the government and the JPS have to work out, because the JPS thing is a big thing. The reason for that is because the LNG is stored on a ship in the sea.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're talking about infrastructure. So every time we have a hurricane, the thing have to move and go in a safe harbor, and they have to get more expensive fuel. That happened in a barrel, and they never learned the lesson, and it continue. We can't continue with this thing. They have to find a way, as part of the new dynamic of JPS, to store more LNG onshore rather than offshore.
And step up the renewables.
Yeah, step up the renewables. Energy policy have to become more important as part of the whole thing to reboot the economy.
So
it can't be same old.
So the Christmas not look so grim then. $21 billion back in circulation will do a little thing.
Yeah, man. Yep. But it's still grim because down for the people in the West, things grim. And the people, even the people in the corporate area, it will be a problem if I'm messing you because they might look down the road and say, yo, what will happen next year?
Let me ask
you
this, Raleigh. Because we had a massive disaster, the largest one we have ever had on this island. And the government not start spend no money in the area them yet to restart the economy in those areas. They could have done that by building the houses and all of that and start a thing down at the place there. They are talking about procurement. What would stop the government from doing emergency spending to do this building, Raleigh?
There's nothing that should stop them, and the longer them takes to start the process is the longer the economy is going to take to recover. Don't make them tell about the growth. It's recovery. The longer the economy is going to take to recover, and the more the people are going to suffer.
Let's not even go to the growth yet, Raleigh, because my concern is that a man are going to tell you, say, you can't just start spend money, so you can't just start build house. What will stop you?
That's rubbish, man. Because people, so what I tell you is that them not have no feelings for the people and them not have no economic sense, because you have to reboot the economy as quickly as possible if you want to maintain stability.
But here the next thing, Raleigh. Here the next thing. They are coming out to tell us that the assessment is going to be completed in January. Then if the assessment is completed in January, then the people who will suffer all February, them not start getting a relief yet?
Then I say that, man. That man, I tell you, the Christmas are going to be still grim, because February, March, nothing happened for them people in the first quarter. So whoever tell you about the economy, are going to start recovering in the first quarter. That's nonsense, because don't listen now, get back on track. Or not now, don't listen till the end of the first quarter next year.
But why is the government afraid to spend some money in the area? They don't even want to employ people to do the assessment. We hear the minister talking about voluntary.
Boy, only them can answer that in the college. I don't know better, because even in a supplementary estimate, them cut the capital. That's why I'm telling you, I don't know what them do. But even in a supplementary estimate, them cut the capital budget. Yeah?
Byron.
So the government...
Yes.
The government cut
hold on, Byron. Hold on. Make Ralston just finish this. Go ahead, Ralston.
The government cut the capital budget, and the Bank of Jamaica keep the policy rate tight. So, you know, them not provide a stimulus, them not provide contraction, which is what we need now. We need stimulus now.
Go ahead, Byron.
Yes, Brother Raleigh. I wanted to speak to the government prudence, right, and economic sense as it relates to the container homes that the Prime Minister hell-bent, right, whether to bring in 5,000 or 3,000 containers. Where the priority lies with the Prime Minister in terms of stimulating the economy. Because if you purchase 5,000 or 3,000, right, container, right, from wherever, right, basically to I understand that, right, you'll be building up other person's economy. Where you can just, as it relates to NHT, and even advice that the Prime Minister is getting as it relates to the top 3 builders in Jamaica, telling the Prime Minister, right, not to proceed in that route in terms of the container situation. Raleigh, you and I know that, okay, if the government utilize, right, some emergency funds or whatever, right, to stimulate the economy in terms of getting those youths being employed, right, steelman will be making a money, right, the man who mix the concrete will be making a money, right, truck driver will be making a money, and a chain of stakeholders will be benefiting. I am asking you, Raleigh, what is really the
multiplier effect? So sensible people who know about economics. What happened now is that the government will increase the capital budget rather than contract the capital budget. The government would have made the money and make the house in Jamaica rather than import house from China. You're draining the economy when you do that. So what you do is keep the economy in a contraction and increase the suffering of the people, because you know I get the multiplier effect. You put the multiplier effect in a China or wherever you buy the thing them from. If them they give the local contractors them the work, most of about 5, 6, 7,000 houses that have been already. The man them would have work man in a them place so that get work. Yeah, the man who have the cook shop, some of them cook shop that have been revitalized. The gas station them in them place so that get more sales. The government will collect more tax revenues. Tax revenues are down from April to October. So it have a multiplier effect on the economy. What them are the reverse, them are drain the economy. That's how I tell them to know what them are do.
Here are next
All of
thing.
the economy.
We are joined by Conrad O'Brien, but here are next thing what the government are do. Because I heard, I think it was Rocky Mead saying that people don't have security of tenure for the land. If the hurricane blow down a house, why and you want build it, why not just build it back? The owner for the land get that house because at the same person house blow down anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? But before I go to Obi, Ralston, what system, is there a system that the government could use based on the disaster that could go around this whole lengthy procurement guideline that the government has been unable to maneuver over the last 10 years? And anything you have tried over 10 years and you can't get it right, it means you are incompetent. The government has been failing. What kind of system could be used that them could have start build them house the long time and build 7,000, as we said?
The man never one thing when they call emergency procurement in the national interest. So them could have do that if them want. Yeah? The reason why them delay upon the procurement process for the last 10 years. Remember, the procurement process lies in the Ministry of Finance. I had the greatest finance minister, so it's called. Minister, so it's called the Ministry of Finance. Them deliberately do that because them do want to pay down the debt faster than program fast.
So them just use that as an excuse, as a scapegoat. Tell them!
Yeah, man. Them just use that as a scapegoat. Them control the process, man.
And that's why I said that any system you try to work with over 10 years and you can't get it right, it means you're incompetent or you're deliberate.
Yeah, man, it's deliberate, man. They never want to fix it. I know you have a national emergency. They have every reason. Just like how them suspend the fiscal rules because of the emergency. At the same way, them can have emergency procurement if they want to build out the place. Nonsense, man.
Obi.
Yeah. Good evening, Colin and others. Raleigh, how you do? All right,
yeah, man,
cool.
Good, man.
Listen to me.
Obi.
Hello?
Yeah, man.
Blessings, Obi. Blessings.
Blessings. Byron, what go on?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Blessings, my brother.
Respect, Joe, my brother. Blessings. Listen. The truth is that, you know, what Raleigh said, as usual, Raleigh is spot on. And, Colin and you guys, what happened? Government was not designed to be stupid in. Even under normal circumstances, without you have a hurricane, the Ministry of Health, and I'm just doing this in, the Ministry of Health can basically do certain things in order to basically spend money because they understand that government's supposed to be nimble at times, and we're not seeing that level of nimbleness going on right now. But my question to Raleigh, we saw over the last, 14 years or so, it was supposed to be 4 years, but it's gone about 14 years now. $11.4 billion removed from the housing trust every year. Even after the JLP had took the PNP to court and said they were supposed to take their sticky finger off housing trust money when it was a part of the conditionality for us to get the IMF deal when the country was literally locked out of the international market. What is stopping the NHT from basically become involved in the rebuilding process now, and so that our people can basically start living a semblance of decency, Raleigh?
Nothing, and it's the NHT money that the Prime Minister said they are going to use to import the containers.
Raleigh, what the NHT balance sheet look like?
Big, I have the numbers right in front of me, but right now, but you can pull up that easily. That's not a problem.
Hold on, Obi.
Colin,
go ahead, Obi.
$84 billion surplus last year.
How much?
$84 billion surplus last year.
So, I would be safe to say that the NHT is awash with cash?
Yeah, man.
Indeed.
Always.
So we can put shelter over the people if we so desire.
But Colin, I'm telling you, NHT money them I use to import the containers, man, which is wrong. The money that you have scaled at Jamaica, brother.
But anybody who is agreeing with the government to import container houses over using our block, our sand, our gravel, Jamaican cement, Jamaican laborer to build these houses, and supporting the government to import these houses using the scarce foreign exchange. What would you say to those people, Raleigh?
You're unpatriotic.
What would you say to those people, Byron?
Well, I mean, listen. It is prudent in terms of the government do the right thing. And what I believe, and this is not coming from Raleigh, this is not coming from you, this is not coming from OB. I do believe that the government is doing this to appease its own interest and possible benefit. Right? That's my take on it.
What do you say, OB? Hold on, Raleigh.
I'll say this, that I believe that those persons are unpatriotic, and that is why I am still calling, even the lone voice, calling for a definitive position from the opposition PNP on this.
Raleigh?
I haven't heard it, and I'm still calling for that.
Go ahead, Raleigh.
Yeah, for the 2023-24 fiscal year, the NHT had income of $43 billion, operating expenses $12.9 billion, net surplus $21.8 billion, contributions received $56.55 billion. Yep, and then spent $30 billion on housing expenditure, and the average number of houses, the 2,157, was below the period 2018 and 2022. So all of them collect more money than build less houses. Yep.
Money is there. Raleigh, thank you, my brother. Big up yourself.
Right,
we'll talk.
Yeah, Obi, blessed.
Yeah, man.
Respect. Best of Raleigh. We'll talk later.
876-804-7072. We have Mystic Sensation. I will call Byron. And we have Conrad O'Brien on the line. I mean, we have past our time, but we can take our next 10, 15. We can take our next 17 minutes.
Indeed, the great Byron, man, Mystic Sensation, man who bonfire wicked, you know.
Yes, man. Yeah, man. May I go over and place tomorrow evening?
Yeah, man.
All right. Blessings for that. Blessings, Conrad.
Every time, Byron. Every time. When we're in the struggle.
Yes, man. You see, we have to call out the thing and talk the truth because a lot of people are afraid of the truth, and we say the truth must be revealed. I heard the minister agreeing today, Obi, that the Minister of Labour, Pernell Charles, I think he was talking to Ralston this morning on Real Business at Power 106, and he admit that they're going to have more people. But I want to call out the minister and say, stop begging people to go do the assessment. Employ people to go do the assessment and done it in 7 days. What say you?
And I agree with you. And as you said that, Colin, I must tell you that Pernell Charles Jr. came in for some sticking on my program today because people are actually saying that, you know, the Ministry of Labour should really do what they have to do. And I must say this, you know, I'm sure you won't mind. Pernell Charles Sr. basically called me yesterday to commend me on the work that I'm doing. So I said to him, but your son not talking to me. So, you know, he pledged that he would basically tell Julius, listen, when friends were far and few, Conrad O'Brien was there, so he must chat to me. So I'm awaiting that discussion with Pernell Charles Jr. But as I was saying to the callers and listeners today, Colin and Byron, that the money that is spent, even when you add that portion that come from the Ministry of Labour, I think we did the math, Colin, and it come up to about 300 and something million.
Yeah, man, the money where they must listen. The money where the government has spent is a joke, and I want to know why is it that the government not going out there, putting money in the spaces, putting money on the ground, employing people. I am saying that the Ministry of Labour should spend about $120 million already in terms of getting the assessment done. They should have spent that and get the assessment done. They're moving too slow.
But here's the thing, Colin, in terms of, remember that the money that we're hearing, you know, we're hearing about digging out food packages with that money. And as I was saying to folks today, because one of my callers said, listen, nobody that he knows can identify that they get a package to the government. So I'm saying to him that, listen, when you have so many people that have been affected and what the government, depends on the math that we have been doing, you recognize there's just about 12,000 people touched by the government. So it's tantamount, Colin, to the census, right? A survey that is done. So everybody says, why a survey done, but nobody never talked to me yet. So this is what is happening.
Well, the survey was not done.
You understand?
Well, Obi and Colin.
Go ahead, Byron.
There are some factors that we need to consider, right, as it relates to the whole process in terms of food relief. One of the first things that the government should have done, right, is to work, right, in tandem with the opposition. For what? For robust checks and balance. And that is one of the reasons why Comrade Mark Golden had spoken about a task force that needs to set up, you understand, to manage this thing. Now, as we are mentioning, and it goes to census, right? The census is so important. It is extremely important because it's through the census that you're going to have an awareness, you understand, of how to deal with the entire situation. Now, however, I will have to tell you that I don't think that checks and balance and accountability is where the government is pursuing. And so then the government tardiness in put these measures in places, right, goes to the government deliberate action to continue to mislead Jamaica. Because let us speak of it. Now the government get tons of it, OB and yeah. Now with the tons of it that going into ADPEM, there is no solid inventory management system set up.
Well, I think they said they're setting that up. I think they said they're setting up that at ADPEM now, yeah.
Okay, so what based on what you said then, let me just use what you said. You said that they are setting up that at ADPEM now. Well, the prudent thing to do was to make sure that you understand these situations, these apparatus being set up to monitor from day one. Because, all right, upon the completion of the setup, this is what I'm asking Obi and Colin, right? Upon the completion of what is set up to deal with inventory management, can we account for all of those goods going into the ADPEM, right? And those goods being going in and out, right? Without not having that system in place, right? We don't know. There's no accurate report to say, okay, what going in before, prior to the system setting up, right? So this is what I'm saying, that there are several factors that happen, and it seems like the government tardiness, you understand, is deliberate, right? Because number one, at this point, let me ask the question. Do we have an independent task force, right, that is monitoring the system? We are going partially near 2 months, right? And yet we don't have a committee that's set up to supervise the process.
Hold on, Byron.
The government within
hold on, Byron. Obi.
Yeah.
How many members of the NARA has been named thus far?
I am not sure. I'm not sure how many members of that committee.
Have you heard one? Have you heard one person named to that committee?
No, I heard that it was supposed to be led by Danville Walker, I think.
You sure? Is that committee? We are talking the NARA, you know, man, the National Reconstruction and Resilient, whatever that.
Yes, man. That's the one. I gather that Danville was the person who was supposed to head it.
And you hear that through officialdom? Sorry.
I would say close enough.
But no official announcement have been made. That's what I'm asking.
No, we haven't heard that. We heard about that is to come, but we don't hear the build out of that body, and we're still saying that, you know, for us to have, because remember now, we don't even understand exactly what how it will be set up. You know, if it will be set up as a limited liability company, what kind of thing, or be set up as an executive agency. All those things we're still waiting on to hear how this outfit called the NARA will be built out. But Colin, I did make the error. I did make the error earlier when I was trying to make the point. I said census. I was saying that people are saying that this is like a poll, because a poll happened, and although the poll is done, when you ask people, nobody can say, boy, they were spoken to as a part of that poll. And it is the similar thing now with the distribution of the package. When you talk to people, very few people, if any, can tell you that they have been touched by the government distribution.
All right, Obi, let me just make Byron finish up because his background getting a little bit noisy. Byron, you have anything finally you want to say?
Oh, yes. So I am saying, Randy, let us ask this question, Obi, right? The question. We know that the government for sure get tons of aid, right? And as a result of getting the tons of aid, why is it why the government is taking a line in terms of making purchase on food items after getting tons of aid? Why not pull down from the tons of aids that they have gotten and secure that money? You understand, for other meaningful purposes.
But maybe
that is my question.
Maybe they are, Byron, because the money where the government say them spend, that can't feed nobody. That can't feed. Feed a third of the people down there who needs to be fed. So maybe they are mixing it with some of the aids where them get, man. There must be.
But Colin, I tell you something. I'm inclined to go the route that Byron has gone, because the truth of the matter, and it comes back down to transparency and accountability from day one. Because what happened, based on what we hear rolled out, Colin, and we don't have a proper accounting process for that before, and the people, you're hard pressed, and that is why, the people are not saying that, listen, this is an awful lot of money. However, the people are saying, based on the assistance, the aid that we have received, both internationally and locally, they believe that enough come in for the government to distribute. Hence, they're saying that for the government to say, on the face of it, they spend $300 million, even though when you do the ratio, right, per capita, if you do the divisional process, then certainly it's a small amount in terms of how many people can reach. But based on what comes in, Colin, I am inclined to ask a similar question that Byron is asking. And that's what on the lips of the people out there. The people are not trusting. The people are saying that, listen, they don't believe. When I to go to they're saying that they don't believe that government spend no money, because they have been hearing about the plane loads and ship loads and ship loads of things that have been coming into Jamaica.
But Obi, you must also remember that most of them plane load, they were shaggy car, were bujo car, no go through the government. A lot of people go deliver them thing themselves. But this is where we have to leave it, gentlemen. Byron, you have anything you want to add before you go unmute and speak? Byron, you have to unmute. Sound like Byron gone left. We're not hear him.
He is still on, but I don't know what's going on.
He need to unmute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You hear me now? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, Byron.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure, to be on the program, right? Colin, and be with Obi as well. Really appreciate that. And I want to say, big thanks to continue to hold government accountable.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
And I really love it. Thank you, my folks.
One love. Thanks, Byron. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Byron. Bless it. All the best. Cool.
804, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes.
Colin.
Yes.
Yeah, man. OB. And Mystic Sensation.
Respect, blessings.
Back to what I said the other day. I want to talk about this shop thing where the man them are give out voucher. I mean, oh, you're going to put that money to things where you get monetary value and all that. Back to this thing. Can Colonel Charles do not show over the receipts, them and all, and, you know, him buy food truck to give the people them.
Well, one
of them get the or them put that money policy, them they go to buy food. I issue to the people, or them are use the same food so them get from the international donors. Put that one at the calendar. Can be confused. So you put a monetary value to that. You go buy the goods them and give to the people that want.
Well, the thing about it, Carla, is that what I am hearing is that a lot of the stuff that people are getting in the packages are local stuff. That means they would have been bought or given by local people. So my look at it, and I may be wrong, I am saying that the government is also putting stuff for them get with stuff for them buy. That's why the money is a little bit, because that money for me, if I that the government spend, them need to be spending 4 times that amount. It is inadequate. And that's why some people not getting touched.
And we can add one more thing.
Go ahead.
May I add one more thing?
Yeah.
I don't want to be facetious, but let me say something here. There's other people that know Westmoreland and Hanover and all of them places they go they will not get better treatment. I'll tell you that.
So you think the government are play politics?
You see time of Michael Manley, Hugh Small, DJ Dunk and Tony Spalding and all them things they done with man. Them man are rugged and astute and nothing. You understand? It's man a play politics straight up. I don't want to say people are hiding and hold back. Because the diplomacy and hypocrisy.
Yes. Diplomacy is hypocrisy, definitely. Yeah, man.
Okay.
All right,
cool.
Bless up, my brother. Obi, final.
Final Colin, the truth is that the people of Jamaica are still struggling, still under pressure. Tonight, as we speak, you and I will get into a place and we will cover under a warm sheet, blanket or so, or if we get hot, we'll turn a fan on and get a little breeze. Thousands and thousands and thousands of our brothers and sisters, young, old, middle age, doesn't have that luxury tonight, Colin. This is going to 7 weeks after the Cat 5 hurricane. And certainly, Colin, had the government acted swiftly and, basically come off their pumps and pride and take advice that people like yourself and I positive to say, listen, use local material, use local constructors, and so on and so on. Provide work for the people. At least 6, 7, 8, probably 10,000 houses would have been rebuilt already. And when you multiply that by way of family size, let's use 3 persons per family or 4. Just see how many people would be going under a roof tonight had the government led by Andrew Michael Boga Rodham Holness take those advice and board. Still hoping, however late in the day it is, that they will say, listen, they have come to their senses, and this whole business of the container houses that basically giving the value added to another economy, as Ralston so eloquently stated earlier, the government of Jamaica will retreat. We're also, finally, Colin, we heard that there is a pushback. As a matter of fact, Marlon Morgan, who is a spokesperson for the government, he actually confirmed with me that indeed the Andrew Holness-led government will be sending in the soldiers down into a compound town. And I'm saying that is a potential hot button matter. There are people such as Nikisha Burchell and others who are there with open arms, say, send the soldier to us because we need the help. On the other hand, Corey said that they have enough manpower and skill set in a compound to do the job. Mr. Prime Minister, let good sense prevail, sir. That's my take.
Thank you, Obi. Thank you very much. Annette.
Yeah, Colin. Hello,
Yeah.
Colin. Good night. And
Quick.
Conrad.
Conrad gone. Wrap up. Quickly.
Yeah, I know. Stacey, I don't hear you gentlemen talking about the extra 600,000 US that they got from the some African bank or something like that.
Yeah, man, it's more money. Them are 80 get some, we get a little bit more than 80.
1.1, 80 get 500, we get 6. So that is more aid coming in again. You understand me?
Yes, man.
So,
But
I just mentioned that because maybe a lot of people not knowing that money is still coming in anyway. And I don't know if that is a loan or it's a grant that they got from them African.
That sound like a grant from the bank.
Right.
It was a grant.
Okay.
All
right. So that money we not for pay back. All right.
All
okay.
right, Mary. Blessings. I want to thank Omar Noel for spending some time with us. I want to thank Ralston Ayman.
The mitigation was placed in head 1500, which is the office, 15,000, which is the office of the Prime Minister, but it was inadvertently allocated there. So it has been transferred since then to head 1900, which is the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, to be utilized by the NWA as follows: National Cleanup and Resilience Building Program 630, and targeted responses to urgent and emerging needs 220 million.
Which leaves a balance of $101 million. Can you indicate what that represents and whether it's still under the classification of additional requirement for the Constituency Development Fund?
So, remember, instead of 747, it's now 850.
Well, what I'm seeing, Minister, on page 4 of your revised document, I'm seeing 747, which was revised from OPM. So I'm trying to get an understanding of the remainder.
May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace. Until we meet again tomorrow evening right here at 5 p.m. on Portland Spice TV. Like up the channel, touch the thumbs up. It no cost $1. Nothing it no cost you. To touch the thumbs up, give the channel a like and share it with the people in your contact, because this is where we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us, God. We're closing off this evening with Omar Noel dashing away Favor Williams like a piece of paper. Throw her away. Question: the whole team can't find the 101 million.
Member, we would have to get an explanation for that 101 million from the office of the Prime Minister. I don't know.
Thank you, Minister.
In
your presentation last week, you said already our international partners have indicated that within that package that's announced, there's about 450 million for JPS. And what that will do is allow for a loan of 150 million to be repaid back to us, so we get back the liquidity. Minister, would you agree that just based on the questions asked earlier and the answers that you have given, that statement is premature and the loan is at now speculative at best?
What do you mean by speculative?
Meaning the loan is not there. It depends on JPS and the multilaterals working out an agreement for that loan to become available.
We've given our undertaking to JPS.
No, Minister, I'm speaking specifically to, I quoted you from the Hansard, where you said the 450 million, what that will do is allow for our loan of 150 million to be repaid back to us. I'm asking if that was accurate, or if you would accept that that was a premature statement.
It was a statement that we believe will happen because
We wish along with you, Minister. Thanks.
What? I'm sorry.
Blessings, my people. Tomorrow evening, everybody. Tomorrow evening, everybody. We gone left favor. One love, my people. Big up on yourself. Thanks.